I want to welcome you here, Monika. I'm very happy that to have you here. I'm always inspired by women who dream big and also achieve what they're dreaming of. That's the reason why I wanted to invite you and to talk about stress and resilience. Although the word resilience I didn't come across a lot in your books, in your TED Talks, in what I found on your website. I'm very curious how you are managing that, how you manage your stress, because what I also read is that a challenge, a new one, is upcoming very soon. For me, that sounds all very stressful, but you don't look that at all. I guess you manage very well, and that's what I want to learn from you today. So welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Sylvia.
You have a challenge upcoming, which for me looks like a sort of really insane. How did you get there? Because are your challenges are there building up, or how does this one start? The last one, and you can tell also a little bit what it is all about.
So the one which is coming up, you
Yeah,
mean, right?
coming up. Yes, I'm going into the future.
Yeah,
Yes,
awesome. It's the 30 Swiss Summit Challenge,
yes.
30 days, 30 mountains, Swiss mountains, and it will be 40,000 meters of elevation gain.
Hmm.
And it literally started after 15 years of cycling. I realized I checked all my boxes, what I want to do in cycling. I needed a new challenge because I do like challenges. I do like testing, like, hey, how does it feel like when I start this? I also do always things where I'm not sure if I can finish it. It gives me, this kind of curiosity. How does it feel like? Yeah, I was last year always wanted to go hiking and trail running in the mountains. But even if you live in Switzerland, you still have like the way to get there and the entire day of hiking, going back. I did way less than I wanted to. I told myself, Monica, really to see all the paths, all the mountains I want to see, I have to make a challenge out of this. And it became the 30-day, 30 mountain challenge. Yeah.
You ticked all your boxes, you done it, and then you would like to challenge it more. Isn't that, does it generate stress in you when you think about it, or is it only positive excitement?
I would say no. Because the thing is, I'm not looking every year for a new challenge or the challenge needs to feel right. I don't do a challenge if I don't really want to do it. It needs to come from within something which sparks this curiosity. And since the last challenge, it was now 4 years. So it's not like that I'm seeking from one to the next one, going crazy for it, but it's more like, hey, now it's time and it sounds cool and why not doing it?
I heard you saying somewhere else it's a really passion project that keep you going. Is the curiosity the real driver here?
100%. I lived in many places and I always wanted to see. I just moved here. The first thing I did is putting on the shoes and checking out the area without GPS, just saying, okay, this is where this is, this is where this is. I love seeing what else we have in our lives around us. You don't have it? You're curious too.
I am very much a similar mindset. My passions are probably on a little bit of a different level, at least the challenges. I'm a trail runner. I love mountains. I lived in Switzerland. I'm Dutch, so of course I've been born more or less on the bicycle. I did bicycle once from Holland to Zurich. Yes, I'm definitely into sport and challenging. How do you keep healthy?
It's through experience. This is my third large project in that sense. I know my boundaries. For example, I need my 8 hours of sleep. I will not do anything, and that's where I checked my boxes in cycling. I wouldn't do something where I have to ride through the night. I've done it when I was in my 20s. It was cool 1 or 2 days, but doing something crazy for 10 plus days, where it's really about lack of sleep, I'm out. I want to sleep well, and then I ride well. I saw what works for me, where I really enjoy the challenge. It's not just about putting in the miles, putting the elevation gain. It's more about really the experience. So I create all the projects I create in a way where I know I can actually enjoy it too. It is, of course, it pushes my boundaries, but still I have this recovery factor in there. I sleep in hotels, and I make sure that all the ways are in the like going from one mountain or peak to the next, that I'm able to recover really well. And it's very important for me.
So that is one of the main things. And you also, to make the breach, I see that you work with executive leaders, you work in corporates. Recovery is not really a known world in that world. Is that something you need to increase performance or stay resilient in your eyes?
It's funny that you're saying that because I see it often. I mean, or let's say this, with athletes, you have a training plan like a sprinter, right? A sprinter
Yes.
would not sprint every single day. Why should a business person, a top level performing business person, should sprint literally every single day? There's still a stigma that, taking a rest or recovery, however you want to call it, is still considered as weakness, or it's very tough to taking that, especially mental rest. I think that's the key for a sustainable performance.
Yeah, and totally lacking in a business environment. Is that what you underline when you work with a corporate?
I have the fortune to work with corporates who are also athletes. So if as soon as I put the athlete mindset in there, they immediately understand the transfer to the business world. That helps them to understand how important recovery is and putting the focus on it. And that not everything needs to happen right now at once, but it's staggered. That helps with focus, with prioritization. There's so many points to it and to performing well. There are people I can work with. They're already open to those topics because they're coming also from sports.
That makes totally sense. About the biggest part of corporates are not there yet. There's still a lot of things to do.
Yes.
I see a nice bridge in what you learned from your challenges and how normal life at the moment is going. What is for you the key elements to reach your challenge, to reach your goal? What are those?
For me, all the challenges are not just has one part is the sportive part, but I do love actually the entire project building up and then the execution of the project. I build a team right now. I'm looking for partners, media, logistics, organization. There are a lot of parts which need to happen now so that it works really well and when the challenge starts. So everything's already in the background going on to make it happen. It's not just a training.
No, it's not only the physical element. There's a lot of other things you can learn, and I see there is a lot of joy. So that is probably also a prerequisite to be successful.
Yes, yeah. I honestly I wouldn't do it if I don't enjoy it, even if I don't enjoy the part beforehand. I like the full package of it, which allows me actually. I was just thinking about yesterday or 2 days ago. I do talk with a lot of partners, with a lot of companies, with a lot of people who I wouldn't be able otherwise to talk to, or that conversation would never be there if that challenge wouldn't be there, and that makes it exciting. Opens doors in a way of for conversations, for meeting interesting people, for learning about how does this industry work. There's this curiosity part coming back in again.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest driver. How will I do? How will I physically do? How will I feel? Do you see yourself already finishing and how that makes you feel? Do you no. No. You just go?
Yeah. First, it's still too far away. I still have 6 months. Of course, when I'm running and I'm getting tired, I'm thinking, Monica, just the easy part. When it's done with the 30 days, it will be a lot tougher. But I'm also trusting the process, meaning I still have 6 months to train. There's still a lot to do, and just going with it. I'm not expecting now that I will be perform as it will be during the challenge. But I do a lot of visualization. How would it be if that happens, but in a positive thing. So strengthen my mindset now, preparing it for whatever is coming then for this time.
No, how does stress really looks for you then? What is stressful for you? This sounds already quite stressful for me, what you're doing, physically at least. But how does stress looks for you?
I think stress is mostly happening for me when it's unplanned. When things coming together, which I haven't mentally planned for. All of a sudden a call is coming in, then the email, and then everything's at once, and everyone wants now your attention. That is stressful for me. It's like the unplanned. And when things are chaotic, when things are structured, even if it's super, super busy, it's okay.
But you cannot plan everything in life.
That's right. Yes, of course, when we talk about major things, and then adding up lack of sleep, then you may be hungry. So there are a lot of things coming together, which for me puts me into stress. But I must say, I'm not often, well, it's all the definition of what is stress in that sense, right? But I wouldn't consider myself very stressed in general. I'm rather thriving on the work, on the stimulation. I think it's also how you perceive it, if it's something good or if it's something bad. If you enjoy doing and working hard, then you don't feel that bad stress. If it's something it's a burden for you, then it's easily probably agitating.
Yeah, there are different. There's good stress, there is bad stress, there is ignoring your body signals. I guess when you are challenging yourself physically such a lot, you know your body very well, right?
For the cycling part, yeah. In running, it will be a new experience. But yes, at the main part, like the basic parts, what is good food for me? How much sleep do I need? Yes, I think I understand it really well.
Yeah, and do you do also meditation or breath work? Because you say I do mindfulness and mindset. You meant you didn't say mindfulness. I'm sorry. I don't want to put words in your mouth. You didn't say. You said mindset. What are the things you're doing? How does your mindset regimen looks like?
Breath work in that sense, where I'm focusing on my breath, is only when I try to fall asleep. And I breathe in, deep breathe in 3 times. And when I yawn in one of those 3 deep breaths, then I know I will be able to fall asleep. If not, then I know already, ooh, I could get off the bed. That's what I figured out for myself. More like in this way. But it's not like that I'm really focusing on my breathing. It's more like when I do feel stressed that I take physical distance from it. That is more like taking a coffee, doing something else, and really being aware of that I'm stressed, that I'm not doing any impulsive actions, taking a little time and then coming back to it again.
But you do reflect on it. You
Yeah,
realize
sure.
you realize that you're stressed, your things are not go that you're off. You say, okay, I step back, don't react, and try to understand what's going on.
I think that's the most important step for me personally. Awareness. To be aware actually that you're stressed. And then you can act on it. If you're not aware of it, then it's very tough to also making changes to it. Just knowing, okay, I'm stressed and that's what it is. Also my surroundings, when I'm stressed, I say, hey, I'm stressed, and might be having I'm a short, do not ask wrong questions today. Just being aware of it, I think that's number one. And everyone can deal with it. Me and the surroundings, of course, depending on the surrounding.
And how to build this? I didn't see the word resilience nowhere. When you are aware, when you build in recovery, when you go through discomfort and the challenges you do, there are also discomfort. It's not only joy. You push through resistance. You go out of your comfort zone. It's a way to increase your resilience baseline. That's what you're continuously doing. But I don't see the word resilience in there. Is it that you're not busy with it, or you call it differently?
Call it differently. Resilience is very much a buzzword. When you're asking 10 people, you're getting 11 answers to what resilience is. I'd rather describe it in that sense, what it means for me. 100% the challenges, it's all about resilience, physical as well as mental resilience, to get up the mountains, staying on it despite the whatever comes towards you, wants to push you back or doesn't want you to keep going.
And what was the hardest moment in one of your challenges you had? And how did you get out of that?
Everything was beforehand. So the preparation part. It was when I did not know what I'm working for, or I have not experienced what I work for. I'm having sleepless nights. It's just also the imagination, a lot of things. The closer it comes, the more things. And what is, Monika, when this happens, and then, it's still not, you still haven't started yet, but all the emotions are coming already towards you. You're getting kind of this anxiety, positive as negative. I think that is where the moments where I'm like, what? Can we now just start? As soon as I start, you're into it, you're in your bubble, everything's working, and everything what you're doing is progress. But before that, it's sometimes also a little bit of, okay, is that what I'm doing right now? Is that helpful for the challenge? So there are a lot of questions then, the closer it also gets.
Nervosism, anxiety.
Yes.
How do you manage that?
Trusting in the process. That's a big one. Knowing that everything will be fine. Being aware of sometimes, when you're having a shitty day, calling it a shitty day and saying, okay, Monika, today I'm not making any big decisions because it will be the wrong decision probably being taken. Being aware of that. And when I have this phase where things all come together, that's most of the time where I would then also challenge, like, am I doing the right thing right now? But as soon as I basically call this day, Monika, no big decision day, then for me, it's okay, I'm off, everything will be fine. Tomorrow will be good again. And then it's again back to normal in that sense.
The moment you tag it, you say, okay, this is not a good day to make this decision, or this is because I'm feeling today like too overwhelmed. The moment you give it a name, most likely it disappears also, the anxiety, or it calms.
100%. Yes. By being aware that's not a good day or not a good moment means it puts the pressure off me, then I have to perform in this very moment. I give myself the permission of saying, hey, today take it easy and tomorrow you will go 100% again. Are you
And
doing the same, if I can ask? Are you?
Yeah, of course, it's an interaction. It's not one way. Sometimes I realize late about my state, how I feel, that things are not working, and I get frustrated, and then I think, oh, why is it not working? So pushing through is, of course, a strategy. And when that also doesn't really work, I realize, maybe it's just not the day. Then I'm gonna do other things. Then just close what I did, and I go outside. For me, nature is a thing which helps me always a lot to take distance, to reflect on things, to get calm, and not need to run through it, but just being outside. And that helps a lot, so that I can pick it up again the next day. So that is for me one of my tools to build resilience is nature. You are a lot in nature, and we talk a lot about mountains. For me, the mountains is a place where I get a lot of peace of mind and calmness. If you need to choose between the mountains or the sea, which one would you choose?
Yeah, mountains, 100%. Yeah.
I was a sort of almost an open question, no, but I thought maybe there is a surprise there. Why the mountains?
I have no relationship to the water. That's the one thing. Water is like, okay, I'm jumping in there and then I'm out again and then I'm bored. Sorry for all the water lovers, but I have no, I don't know what to do with it, to be quite honest. I don't like swimming. So for me, the mountains means exploring the trails. So especially, here in Switzerland with all the trails going up, seeing nature in there. It's closer also to what I grew up, the mountains.
Which mountains did you grow up?
It's more like I lived in Munich, for example, and then we went into, the German-speaking part of the Alps.
Yeah, so a sea challenge could be something totally out of your comfort zone.
Yes. It's funny that you're saying that because a friend of mine came up with the idea to taking a bicycle, which is on the water, and to surround once Mallorca. Then we calculated how long it will take.
Yeah.
Mentally, I would be exhausted by an hour later. It's something, yes, it will be a challenge for sure, but do I want to take this challenge? Hell no. It's not interesting for me, to be quite honest. That's very important for those challenges, to know what is really what also sparks my, what makes it interesting for me. Not just doing a challenge because it's a challenge.
These challenges you are designing for yourself requires a lot of preparation. Then the goal is clear and you find a way to get there. It's a big, scary goal, but you can also translate in normal life. And there's a lot of people who limiting themselves because they have this big goal, but it sounds too far away, too unclear how to get there, and therefore they don't even start. What is your advice to at least get started? Okay, it needs to feel right, it needs to give you joy, it needs to be something which you say, yes, I really want this. How do you start?
Exploring. Let's say this, the 30 Swiss Summer Challenge started with the 60 summit, the 30 Swiss Summer Challenge in 60 days. It's more about, having an idea, putting the idea, it doesn't need to be super concrete, then evolving with it. Small little steps, trying a little bit out there, and saying, yeah, I like it, I don't like it. And then it evolves. It's movement, what helps. testing the guardrails to see, is that the direction I want to take or not? And those steps can be very, very tiny. Just a bit of experience learning, is that the direction I want to take or not? And yes or no. Also not judging. If it's a no, totally cool. Okay, we know this is not the road I want to take. Let's try another one. And then that helps to find a direction in where the path might lead.
You say testing your areas, your zones, if it's right or not. Normally, you should not talk to the people around you because they all say, no, don't do it. I heard it in one of the other podcasts from you. If you talk to people about your Wilta idea, that 80% of the people said, that's insane, don't start. If that would have been your starting point, then you would never have started. So how do you make sure you test the right things?
Yeah, well, testing does not mean talking to people.
Therefore, to clarify,
it could be one part of it to learning, getting the feedback, but rather like an idea is a little flower. When you're putting it into the earth, it has no roots yet, and you don't want to put that plant, that little flower, on with a storm. The storm is the harsh feedback from people who might not know you. You want to protect that flower first. That's the people where you know you can trust asking the feedback. They will give you constructive feedback. It's not everything is nice and great, but where you know the person really believes in not just much in your idea, but more into they want to see you grow. They want to see that the roots are getting deeper. I have a few friends and family which are in the small little flower process where I can talk to, where I know they will help me develop it and also give me constructive feedback. I know they want the best for the idea, the best for me growing.
And what did you learn the most of doing this? How do you translate this learning in your normal day life job?
I created my own framework. I call it the Climb framework, CLIMB, Climb, which is perfectly translatable to business. My clients are the businesses who want to get through or need to get through difficult phases, through challenges, their own challenges, transformation projects, any similar projects like that. And I help them taking my experience from those sportive challenges and translate them into the business world. The topic recovery. What does that mean for a business person, for top performing business person? And translating the sportive challenges, the analogies, they resonate really well because people have some sort of, understanding what it means to go up a mountain. What does that mean then for my work in my job?
I saw the framework for high pressure phases.
Exactly.
There's a lot of high pressure at the moment. There is a lot of stress. How do you see that with working with corporations and executives?
I learned a lot from those experiences. And this I put into this framework. And we talk about clarity, finding clarity. It's very difficult to go somewhere, especially in difficult phases when you don't know where to go. Making sure that everyone is on the same page, especially when you're working with a team. That is the C. Loyalty to the decision, commitment. Very, very important nowadays. To understand, okay, what do I have to take and what do I have to give to make actually this goal happen? We always, I don't want to generalize it, but a lot of times it's that people adding things to it to make it happen, but they forget the other part of the balance sheet. What do I leave out? What do I must leave out that I make it happen sustainably? And the I is infrastructure. It's about systems and routines. We cannot trust motivation to always work. It's about the routines, systems, what helps you to make it through those difficult phases, that you don't need to motivate yourself every day. We have the M for milestones, especially important when you're working like this. A lot of people, when you have so much work, you're seeing only the here now, but you don't see how far you've come.
Yeah.
And you
yeah.
also look ahead. What is the next milestone? What is the next small little step I can take? With the 124 Swiss Passes challenge I did, just imagine I would have been on day 3. I have another 122 passes and I'm only thinking about the 122 passes. No, I was thinking about the next curve, the next bend, which is my next target, and then the next target. That helped me to keep going. That's perfectly translatable into a business project. And the last one is B, the balance, to keep sustainable. That's what we talked in the beginning, keeping performance sustainable. and making recovery a must, not optional.
Yeah, I think that is the part where business can learn a lot from.
Oh, yeah.
It's totally, because if you want, you can be on 24/7, but in the end, you will not sustain 24/7, and then something happens. When the joy and the pressure is out of balance, you get in all kind of issues where you don't want to be. It's very useful and also worthwhile to translate the learnings from sports into by optimizing movement, by having your mind and your body aligned. I feel I can perform even better. While I thought in the past it was only slowing me down. It's, it's super interesting how that works. In that world, we're not here that we're the business. So your message is very very useful, especially in a moment now when there is so much change and so much pressure. If I see a cyclist or I see a runner, I see normally an individual. While you talk, of course, also about the team supporting you, because without a team, you will not reach the finish line. How important is the team?
If I can tell you, Sylvia, for the 124 Swiss Passes Challenge, that was a make or break. They were so funny. I almost fell twice off the bike because Björn, one of the team members, he was so funny and made jokes, and really we had a very, very good time. Yeah. And that helped me also through the battle, creating this trust for each other, being in a, well, unknown situation for everyone, right? And growing with it makes it very special. You mentioned in regards to imagination of the last day. For the last challenge, I was actually quite sad because I knew that bubble we created, that intensity of the team we created, the next day it will not exist anymore.
And what happened after a challenge? It's finished, you reach the line, the excitement of getting started is sometimes even bigger than the moment you go over the finish line or you reach your goal, because you have lived through this process for so long that arriving is just a sort of, I don't know, conclusion of all the work before. So what happens after?
After the Vuelta, I was quite in a, how do you call it? The triathletes have a word for it, like a blue, kind of like a dip where
Yeah.
you finished your challenge, and I don't want to say depressed, that's way exaggerated, but you're like, okay, what's next? To move on. Knowing that, I was prepared for the 124 Swiss Passes Challenge, where I set myself a new goal. And the goal was completely, also not cycling related, so I was writing a book. So really one after another. So it was basically, Monika, after this, I don't want to ride my bike anymore, especially not uphill. I knew that. Let's focus on doing something completely different. And that helped me through it.
You need to set yourself a new goal.
Yeah, but it can be smaller, something meaningful. That helped me. Not that I'm lost basically after so much emotion, so
Yeah.
much intensity, and being back in the normal world, normal, like, all day. Transition is helping to do something small and special for yourself. It doesn't need to be something big. And that helped me to transitioning back to my normal daily life.
Yeah, what is normal daily life? No, in the end, it's also what you create. But I understand very good that you sit in a bubble, and sometimes you need this bubble also to realize that it's possible what you're creating. Because in normal life, you're able to create this bubble, and that makes you that you do all this, yeah, that you reach these goals, these enormous goals. And everybody can have a mini goal, like running a marathon, for example, which create a similar bubble, like, wow, I was able to do this. What does it give you personally when you reach that goal?
First, I would say running a marathon is not a small goal. I think it's a huge goal. It's all relative. I think for me personally, as you mentioned, actually, Sylvia, by reaching the goal, I'm already like, okay, done. It's the process between, it's really the path of taking everything what this goal gives me. That is what I enjoy. As soon as I realize I make it, there is this curiosity thing, and then I'm not there anymore. For this challenge, as every path, every mountain is new, every day is new. I'm always very, very conservative with my overexcitement that I might reach the pass, or I might reach the goal. For the 124 Swiss Passes Challenge, day 20 or so very much towards the end, there was one day which was really bad. Focus is so important from the beginning to the end. And only when I reach the end, then I can say, oh, everything's complete. But when I'm in the middle and I think, oh, easy, I can make it, that usually doesn't serve well.
And how did the very bad day look like for you?
That day, I remember we went Col de la Croix. It was the first or second pass. I was at the beginning of the pass. I went 4 kilometers an hour. I had my Garmin. I looked there with how long I have to go, and it didn't move. It didn't show any other neck. It felt like forever. And then I realized when I was at the top forever, really, I said, guys, we're done for today. I had another pass actually. We're done for today. And we packed everything in and we went to a flea market, which we saw just earlier that day. And we did something completely different, kind of this recharge. I needed to step out of this bubble, see something completely different, mentally relaxing. And then in the evening, I was okay for the next day.
And then you went the next day. It went good.
Yeah. I always have a contract with myself. On those bad days, that at that bad day, I can do whatever I want to. It sounds like we got some food when I eat chocolate or watching a Netflix series too long. With the rule, the next day, I'm 100% back again. Making this boundary, because otherwise it's very easy to say, oh, tomorrow will be also kind of a whatever day. So for me, it's 0 or 100. And the 0 day, I also want to enjoy. So it's not being stressed that I eat then chocolate or whatever, but it's about enjoying it. But the next day, I will be back on track.
Yeah, I think that's a very good one. You allow yourself to be a bit more flexible with reaching your goal. You didn't even finish what you were supposed to do on that day, so that could create frustration. Instead of being frustrated about that you didn't reach your goal, you say, I allow myself to give mental and physical space, freedom, create some space to do whatever I like, as long as the next day I pick it up where I left it. That means also that the next day you needed to do more to recover of where you left it behind. Since you gave and allowed yourself that extra space, you were able to do that.
Yes, in theory, perfect, except that I was riding ahead already at that point.
Okay.
At one day, I picked up another mountain. I was actually on track at that point. But yes, even if that happens, yes, I do allow myself to reload and to be excited again for the next day. That's the most important. Getting up and saying, okay, this is now the 110th climb, but I will enjoy it and I go with happiness up those mountains. That's the most important. It's all mental.
So that it was a bad day. Mentally, it felt heavy, or physically, it was heavy?
Mentally, it was heavy.
Mentally.
The mind has a lot to say about how your body is reacting. Yeah, it was a mentally bad day.
If you advise leaders or if you want to inspire women about these big scary goals, how do you work with the mindset? What is your biggest advice there? How do you train that?
Training starts small steps. Every single day, you can train your mindset for being more resilient, for being more courageous. It starts with small things. Which path do you take to work? Do you take always the same one, or do you want to be more courageous in that sense and do something different? Do you want to try out a new recipe? There's so many things you can do on a daily basis which help you to develop those skills than to do something bigger. The challenges didn't start with the sport of challenges. They started when I failed actually a 50-kilometer ride 15 years beforehand. And I said, no, I remember a group ride 50K. After 5 kilometers, I was back out. And I was like, you know what? I think I need to show up again because I want to do this group ride at some point with the entire group. That's what got me back. It's the small little things that help you to grow bigger and bigger. And then your goals getting bigger and bigger. It's natural. Seeing be curious about it and not judging you. Not judging failure or success, just saying, hey, okay, it didn't work. Then I go a different path. The world has so much to offer. Seeing what's out there, seeing what our potential is.
Sometimes your big, scary goals are too scary and too big for other people.
No comparison.
But the process is the same.
The process is the same. Of course, in cycling, I was a specialist in that sense. I was an expert, but I it was over 15 years, but put me into any other sport. I will start small. That's what I enjoy now also in regards to running. I start very small, being okay with it, and rather looking at yourself than about comparing what other people do. Everyone has a special story. Everyone has huge talents, strength. Use them and see what you're capable of instead of seeing what other people are doing.
Yeah, very important one you mentioned. We're so constricted or limit ourselves with what we see around us that we don't dare to at least try.
We never know the full backstory of any other person than about ourselves. Why should I compare myself with someone else who I don't know? The only person, what matters in that sense, where I have the full control over about my goals and about what I want to reach is myself. That's why I focus rather about myself. Of course, everything what you do, if I can inspire others to do something in their capacity, go for it. Try it out, see what happens. Oftentimes we think we can do way less than we can do. If once we start, we see, hey, actually, I can go further. I can do more. It's sometimes just going out and trying it out.
What is the worst thing that can happen?
You've realized maybe that's not the path you want to take. When I want to become a professional cyclist, Marianne Vos was there when I raced 2 races, UCI races in the Netherlands. Got back and I realized within a very short amount of time, that's not at all what I wanted. At that point, it felt like a huge failure because I gave everything up to become a professional cyclist. Actually, it helped me to realize that is not the path I want to take. And I learned from something from it and could take another path. The worst thing in life, what I think, is looking back and saying, I should have tried it. It's rather better saying, oh, I tried it, didn't work out, I tried something else. You're learning so much about it, even like those kind of so-called failures. They just help you to finding the right path. If you never know how you can fail, then you probably haven't tested those guardrails which bring you into the right direction.
Very true. I'm totally with you on that one. I see many, especially women, not on that route. So I hope that this conversation, your enthusiasm, your joy, inspires to go out and walk on your path. It means also that you know yourself very good. Did you do something special for your mindset preparation? What can we learn from you? What can we copy from you so that people see that it is possible?
I think so. Copying, everyone has to find their own path in that sense. I mean, the 3 times breathing to know if you fall asleep or not is a very personal thing. It's more about allowing yourself to understanding yourself better. Going out there, not judging yourself, and seeing life more as an opportunity rather than like eggshells where you're walking and you're scared of falling or crushing something. I go out with, we are only having one life. Why not really testing what it is? With this framework I mentioned, this climb framework, this is a very good guide to go through it. And like, is the clarity for me clear? Like, do I know which direction actually I want to go? Am I committed to it? What do I give up to it? With it, do I have the routines, of going for this goal? Maybe changing the routines to learning more about myself. Do I see actually how far I have gone? It's good to see, looking back, say, hey, where have I been in last year? And where am I now? And then understanding what helps me to recover. Everyone has a different recovery program. I'm not big fan of giving specific suggestions because everyone recovers differently, but understanding and trying things like this out.
Yeah, you talk about breathing, you can use functional breathing to run better and also cycle better. I hope you are aware of that, and otherwise we need to talk about that one. Do you know?
Let's say this, I'm open to everything, but I'm also a person, I don't use a lot of data. I enjoy really nature. Instead of trying to optimize myself in my recovery state, which is being out in the nature, I focus on the birds chirping. If you have specific suggestions you would like to share, I'm definitely open for it.
Yes, let's.
Yeah.
Everything has a purpose in life, and you sparkle totally my interest because I would like to to hike in Spain, from the east to the west through the mountains. I think it's 800 kilometer or 1600. I don't know. There's one of my like, okay, but when I have the time, when I think, but now I hear your conversation, I think, oh yeah, why wait? No, why wait? Why do we need to wait? You have only one life. How do you get clarity about what is important for you?
For me, it's actually testing, testing, testing. I'm a big fan of just trying things out and fast fail. I think that is, I'm the incarnation of fast failing. I will fail so many times, really, probably every single day, of just trying things out, seeing, okay, this work, something else. And I think that's why I'm also so, I'm less very some about failure, because I do it every day, learning to fail. That helps me to understand more in which direction I want to go.
So a lot of things, testing out, testing out, testing out, and then you see, okay, this goes, that doesn't, and this gets good feedback, this doesn't feel right, and then you go. There is a tendency to do. I see also in myself sometimes. You do something, it doesn't work out. You think, "Oh, I'm a big failure." No, it's immediately I am. While you look from it from a perspective like, "Okay, we tested out, didn't work, so this is not my path. I need to do something else."
Yeah, and you're learning. And like as soon as you taking that stance, you're doing everything, because it's so you don't take it personal. For me, it's also I don't take it. Of course, there are moments where I'm thinking, "Oh shit, Monica, really?" But most of the time, it's more like, okay, especially in the business sense, if you're an entrepreneur, there's so many moments to it, and it's just like, okay, does this work out? Then I try something different. And then the try something different, if something works out, is even more emotionally like exhilarating, because you're working so hard for it, and there are some negatives, and then there's also the positives. Focusing on that is very important.
You increase your resilience. You're super excited, a lot of joy, courageous. I hear a lot of positivity here. Is that how you normally approach life?
Yeah. I must say I'm in general a very positive person. Of course, there are days, those shitty days, where I warn my surroundings, saying, today I have a bad mood. Then everyone is aware of it, knowing that next day will be good again. My family in general is very positive. It's not just me. And even when I talk to my sister and one of us has bad mood, afterwards we both always have good mood. It's approach to life.
So you don't continue hanging on there and approach your life. I like that also very much. But you don't continue hanging on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there are moments, situations where it's, it's not good news. There's also a certain time frame you have to allow to digest the negative news situation. It's a question of how long will you stay in this situation until you move on. Yeah, of course. When I have something negative is happening, it also brings me down. But I work myself relatively quickly through that. On the other side, I can then enjoy life again, not ignore this negative situation.
Oh, so you accept the negativity, and then you also make sure that relatively soon you're positive again.
Yeah, or enjoying life again.
And enjoy life again. It is called resilience in the end.
Yeah.
And is it something you do specially for that to get there? Or is it that you say, like the day that you say, okay, I don't have the energy, I cannot continue in the world, I take one day off, but the next day I'm back. Is it also how you do with a shitty day?
Yes. Yeah.
Same approach.
I give myself a time frame, and knowing that I have been doing this now for really decades, I know how long usually that time frame takes.
Yes.
Most of the things go one day, and I really, really make this aware and conscious, saying this is this is a shitty day. Really label it, right? Make this the most comfortable shitty day I can create, and knowing that tomorrow will be a good day again. Releases pressure. It makes me not, I don't need to perform today. I also don't do anything as much as I can. Don't do any important tasks, no difficult tasks, and just let the day go by, and then next day will be okay again.
Yeah, it's important not to make big decisions on shitty days. That's definitely not very good, because then you create more problems in the future, which you could have avoided by just take it easy in that day. That's
As you mentioned, like, what can someone who's listening take out of this conversation? I think being aware, creating awareness of yourself, of your feelings, of how you are. That's number one step. Everything else comes from this awareness. I can't call it shitty day if I don't know it's a shitty day. All of this.
I'm totally with you on that one, but how do you create that? How do you realize that? If you've never been busy with this topic, if every day is a sort of the same and you know that, no, yeah, this is it. How do you create that awareness? How do you start?
The one thing is getting outside your comfort zone, doing small little things that actually push you out of the norm. And then creating, in that point, it needs to be, okay, a 5-minute timer saying, okay, looking back at your day, like, how did I feel today? Creating this awareness first artificially of making the time for it, and then it will come naturally. By pushing, being always out of my comfort zone, I learned also, like, okay, Monika, what is right now? Why am I feeling like this? And then putting the finger to it. And then I can also create an action which helps me to get out of it.
Yeah, that's a very good advice. People need to start. It's not for the people like you who are very busy with it because it's all normal, daily life. And you trained yourself, you get used to it, and you're looking for more challenges. And that you can only do that, I think, when your body and mind are totally connected and you're aware of your own behavior and emotions. Because otherwise, you cannot perform otherwise, you cannot finish even these challenges. Otherwise, you don't even think of starting these challenges. So you need to have a huge self-awareness. But sometimes, of course, life get also out of hand, out of control, and then you need to grab yourself back. But you're in a good place now.
Others call it meditation. I don't put a word to it. It's creating a moment where you can be aware of you, your emotions, whatever makes you you.
There's a lot of advices for people, and I hope it inspire for new, big, scary ideas. I saw a phrase of you which I thought, hey, what does she mean with that? You did 30 mountains, 30 days, 40,000 meters of altitude. I wrote down, because success is not what you think it is. I help you to make courageous decisions and achieve long-term peak performance.
It's the title of my book.
That's all about the book. But in the book, I think you describe a different framework, or not?
Yeah, it's a different framework. The book, that's the 6 P's: purpose, potential, power, perspective, people, and path. That's more like the prerequisites to where am I going? What do I need to have? The climb concept is you are in it already, or you're preparing for like difficult phases. What are the tools you need to make it successful through it? And because success is not what you think, it actually starts right from the start of our conversation. So it's actually a very good finishing conversation. It's challenging that what society is telling us what success is and defining for ourselves. It's about, with the basic questions, what is success for me? What means failure to me? We use those words very loosely, but if you haven't defined them, is there then really a match for what you're saying and what you're actually meaning? And taking a little bit of time, those 5 minutes awareness time, and thinking about what does that actually mean to me? It can change. That's totally cool. And it doesn't need to be a perfect definition. Just being aware of when you're putting such strong words out there, also being aware of, okay, maybe for me, success means actually something totally different than I always was thinking when I was using it.
Yeah, you need to spend some time on it, but also not too long, and then be clear on that and act to it. So that's very important to get also that clarity in that sense. Super. I got totally inspired, and I have all my little challenges coming up now. I need to choose. Is there something you still would like to add, which we didn't discuss and you think is important?
I think one thing is about really get out there and see what you're made of, and don't judge it if it works or doesn't work. It just helps you to find your direction. On the completely other side, because we talked about this challenge so much, for those who would like to follow it, it starts on the 22nd of July. We will create a podcast specifically about this 30 Swiss Summit Challenge. For those who were interested in following, and I will be sharing quite a few news, also what's behind it, not just the training part.
You mentioned the challenge so much. I'm inspired by you setting big, scary goals and then working towards them. That's inspirational, whatever kind of challenge you did, especially in a sport environment where I'm also familiar with. That is super motivational. I learned a lot from you.